our speaker tonight is Dr. Mobolaji Alao, okay? And he'll be talking to us about sales, essentially, about business development, about generating revenue. And his focus is essentially, how do you do this in a challenging, in a chaotic environment, in an environment where things are changing at an unprecedented rate, where it's difficult, to make decisions on pricing and so on, and meet it the way you've decided. I remember I was speaking a few weeks ago, and I was saying, because she's a field person, is always on the road, and I was asking him that. So how are you responding to the current situation where fuel prices have gone like ×3, and you have a field force, and it was like, well, we have to be there, we have to make decisions, and we still have to make money, and keep the business going. So our speaker tonight is Dr. Mobolaji Alao. Is an accomplished professional, comes with over 16 years of experience in sales and marketing. Currently, he serves as the AGM of Turnaround Limited, where he has demonstrated exceptional leadership skills and a keen business acumen in his time in the role. Dr. Alao is responsible for overseeing the sales and marketing operations of Turnaround Limited. Dr. Alao is a member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, which is a testament to his dedication to continuous professional development. He has also completed a certificate program in leadership and management in global health from the University of Washington, just to further enhance his expertise in the field. Dr. Alao is actually a veterinary doctor who has become a salesman, along his career. So Dr. Alao's passion for project management has led him to pursue a program in project management from the University of Washington. And he has successfully leveraged this knowledge to drive project outcomes in his current role. In addition to his professional accomplishments, Dr. Alao is an active member of the Nigeria Veterinary Medical Association. He was a 2-term state chairman in Lagos State, and he currently serves as the national treasurer of the association. He's committed to giving back to his community and has participated in several philanthropic initiatives over the years. Overall, Dr. Alao is a dynamic and accomplished professional who has made significant contributions to the growth and success of Turnaround Limited. His strong leadership skills, business acumen, and commitment to professional development makes him a valuable asset. Dr. Alao is married with 3 children, and we're privileged to have him tonight. Just a minute, I believe he should be on the call now. Yes, he's here, so I'll make him a co-host. So Dr. Alao, you're welcome. Thanks for joining. Just before you take the microphone, one of our leaders also joined, and permit me, I must acknowledge Mr. Biola Ayeni, National Director, Full Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship International. Sir, we thank you very much for joining us tonight. And I would like to welcome everyone for joining as I hand over to our speaker tonight, Dr. Mobolaji Alao. Dr. Alao, over to you. Thank you, sir, as I change the slides. Dr. Alao, you are not audible. Are you speaking, sir?
Okay, good evening. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. You're a bit far away, but if you can.
Yeah, loud. You can come closer to a microphone.
Okay.
Okay. Okay,
Is it better?
good.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Good evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am privileged to be here with you tonight. I want to first of all start by appreciating the leadership of the Full Gospel Businessmen Fellowship International, the Keja branch. I do not take this lightly. May I begin by saying that again, my names are Alao, Mobolaji. I am a veterinary surgeon by training, and I currently work with an animal health pharmaceutical company indigenous to Nigeria. Our core competence is we are actively in the manufacturing of veterinary pharmaceuticals, and that has been my core business the last 16 years. And that actually earned me the salesmanship privilege. I actually joined the company as a technical salesperson, and by dint of hard work, I soon became an area manager, and subsequently I became a business manager. And then eventually I rose from being a business manager to being the assistant general manager of the company. And all I've been doing the last 16 years is selling. And I think that is what has given me the privilege to be able to share a few of my experiences on this platform. Before I go ahead, I would like to just quickly wish my friend and brother, Innocent Daniels, a happy birthday today. I pray that God would grant you long life. I pray He will prosper you and He will increase you on every side in Jesus' name. I wish this was a physical meeting. I would have actually wanted us to actually stand up and give ourselves a very, very warm hug and a pat on the back. But incidentally, this is a web meeting, because the topic that we're about to consider is such that actually requires that we give ourselves a hug and a pat on the back, because truly the times are tough, and it's not been easy for individuals, and the businesses themselves have been taking it very, very, very hard, especially in the last 4 weeks. And that is why I feel that it's important that we share these notes with ourselves on how best we can, keep our sales or improve our sales in these very precarious times, that we have found ourselves. Mr. Deji, are you ready with the slides?
Yes, I'll be sharing it shortly, but you can go ahead. I'll be sharing in a minute or two. Oh, please go ahead.
Right. So, by God's grace, we will be looking at the topic that we titled Improving Sales in a Difficult Economy. We all know that currently it's been a convoy of unpleasant news in recent times. The fuel increase and the way it has actually affected everyone's overhead costs almost automatically. The expected rise in the cost of power. Currently, we are paying for power through our nostrils and bleeding profusely through it. And yet power cost is going to go up. Exchange rates are already going haywire again as the Naira is being currently devalued. And to be honest, it's a very, very delicate time for businesses. And that is why, please, I admonish you to, just listen, to the few tips I will be sharing, although they say that no one is an island of knowledge, but I believe that the few things we'll be sharing this evening, I'm sure you'll find one or two things that will be helpful to you to help improve your business ability and your sales figures in these times that we are in. Now, all right, thank you very much. The first question one will first of all ask oneself is that this challenge that we are currently encountering, is it only limited to Nigeria? Well, the answer is a capital no. Because we don't start feeling like, maybe because I'm in Nigeria, that is why things are so hard No, sir, it is not that. Currently, as we already know, the whole world is hemorrhaging. The world is hemorrhaging. It's not only Nigeria. It's a difficult time all over the world for people and for businesses for keeping up with everyday living. Please, the next slide. Now, if you look at it, taking you first quickly to our superpower nations, the US and the UK, you will look at, if you look at the slide, you will see there that inflation in the US as of 2019 was about 4.2%. And in 2022, it rose to 9.1. It's only recently this year, it has dropped to 4%. And in the UK, as of 2021, inflation was just 2.52%. And by 2022, it rose as high as 7%. And by God's grace, it's now down to just 6.5%. And I'm sure if you listen to the news, you will see that the prices of food, items, power, and all that has gone up. And all these are for obvious reasons. And then also bringing it closer home, if you look at the country just next door to us, Ghana. Ghana's inflation rate in 2022 was just 13.9%. And as at 2023, Ghana inflation rate for food rose to as high as 53.6%. Inflation in Ghana currently stands at 42.2%. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the countries I don't want to be in right now, I don't want to be doing business right now, is in Ghana. So why am I saying this? It's for us to know that it is bad, but it's not completely bad. There are worse situations. Please, the next slide. This next slide is showing the countries with the worst inflation in recent times. For example, a country like Venezuela, if you look at the slide, currently stands at 399.9% inflation. These are countries where you want to buy a single item now, you have to push a wheelbarrow full of cash or two to go and buy just an handful of items. Why am I saying this? Because it has not gotten that bad in Nigeria yet. That is why we should not lose our minds or lose our head at this time. I'm sure we are very familiar with Zimbabwe. We see those pictures all over the internet, how people, go to the market with wheelbarrows full of cash. Fortunately, Nigeria's situation has not gotten to that point yet. But the reality is that it's important that we know what is actually the true picture of the microcosm of the environment that we are, so that we can be properly forearmed. Because why? Information, as they say, is power. The more you know about your environment, the more powerful you are, and the more ability you have to control your indices and be able to survive better. Bringing it out to Nigeria, you will look at the picture. Inflation currently is standing at 22.4% in Nigeria. This is as at May 2023 this year. But what are the other problems that we have as a country? Poverty is still very rife with us. And as a business person, we must understand that poverty level in Nigeria is currently very, very high. Because why? The economic situation is biting very hard at the economy of the average Nigeria. Figures have it that about 133 million Nigerians, which is 3%, are living at multi-dimensional level of poverty. That is to say that they are poor at different levels. And that is to let you know that whatever it is we are going to be doing as business people, we need to bear that factor in mind. What is the average buying power of an average Nigerian currently? And whatever it is we are going to be doing, we have to make sure that our products appeal to the financial power or the economy of the average Nigerian, depending on which sector you're operating from. Another factor that we know that's going to affect us in the year currently under review 2023 is the flood. Last year, flood definitely destroyed a lot of farmlands, destroyed so many homes, so many things, At some point, the flood even impeded movement of traffic from one part of the country to the other part of the country, transporting goods and services. If you remember, there was a time last year that the flood actually blockaded a part of the major road that leads between the south and the north at the confluence state in Kogi State. And there for weeks, trucks, vehicles were stranded there, waiting for the flood to abate before they're able to move forward, you know, to go and supply their stuff. And for those that were carrying perishable things, unfortunately, they lost massively. And it is estimated by the meteorological agency that this year's flood is also going to look like what happened last year. The question we'll ask ourselves is how prepared is our government for these natural disaster exigencies? But the truth about it is that these things are going to be happening. How are we as business going to be responding to these things when they happen? Again, there will be food crisis. It's also been estimated that 25.3 million Nigerians in 26 states are going to face acute malnutrition and food insecurity along the line. Now, moving forward, what are our expectations? Nigeria just changed government. There's a new president in power, and he has his agenda, he has his plan that he has made known to us. Now, what are the plans? Part of his plans is to double the economic growth picture from 3.2% estimated by IMF to 6%. He's promising to improve foreign direct investment to the country. He's promising to improve power situation, as he recently passed the bill into law allowing independent power generators to come into the power business. And then he also promised to also improve the forex situation. Now, the question we ask ourselves is, these challenges, what are the chances that these things are going to happen this year? The answer is a maybe and a maybe not. Because why? Currently, our second quarter is just about ending this week. Next week, we are starting third quarter of the year. And then things are still going, they are still going south. By my estimation, I want to believe and hope that it will still take to the fourth quarter of this year before we begin to see practical signs of these things, or perhaps first quarter 2024. So what does that mean? Is that we should prepare our mind for turbulence, for more turbulence to come in the days ahead. We need to prepare our mind and brace ourselves for the trouble, for the distress and the stress that lies ahead. That is the essence of all I've been trying to say, for us to see the larger picture. And the summary of it is this: two things. This problem is not limited to Nigeria, it's a global problem. I don't need to go into details on why we came about it. We already know COVID-19, and then the war between Russia and Ukraine has been a major causative to what is happening around the world, and has already also inflicted all of this pressure on us. So that is why I feel personally it's important that every business person currently in Nigeria needs to equip themselves with certain basic skills and principles at this time to be able to sustain the business, keep the sales, and possibly improve the sales as much as possible. Next slide, please. Now, going into the main course, what must I do to keep my sales or possibly improve my sales at this time? And I'll be sharing this bit because as a sales manager, these are some of the things I have had to deploy, and I'm deploying at this time to be able to keep our business running and to keep us surviving in the face of, one, a difficult economy, and two, in the face of competition that wants to edge us out of business. Next slide, please. Now, the first thing we need to equip ourselves with is a mind reset. I'm happy and I'm glad that I think if not all of us here are believers. We are all students of faith. The first thing we will need to equip ourselves with is a mind reset. Yes, it looks like everything is falling apart. You're waking up every day, there's so much headache. Your employees are out there, they are looking at you. You have to increase our salaries. We can no longer cope. It's tough, it's difficult. Transport cost is eating so deep into our salary, we can hardly feed. These pressures are coming. The cost of outward carriage of your goods is increasing exponentially. And then you still have to keep your price competitive in the face of competition, and then you need to also, keep the company running on a daily. All this pressure confronts you as a business manager every single day. Now, the first thing we need to equip ourselves with first and foremost is a mind reset. We need to first of all convince ourselves that, first of all, that no matter what the economy of the jungle is, our lion will never eat grass. Our lion will never eat grass. And maybe perhaps you have seen this video that circulated on social media where a lion was eating grass. Well, let me tell you from a veterinary surgeon's perspective, the lion you see in that video that was eating grass is not actually eating grass. So please, don't be misled. You see, the lion also medicates itself, just like every other organism. So the lion knows the leaf that we give it paracetamol. He knows the leaf that we give it antibiotics when it's feeling feverish. And you will agree with me that the trees and their fruits are for the healing of both humans and animals. So in case you have seen the lion eating grass in any video, it's not actually eating grass. So the lion you see there eating something that looks like grass or leaf is actually medicating itself. All right? It's actually medicating itself and treating itself. So on a good day, the diet of the lion remains raw meat, fresh kill. That is what it eats. So we must carry that mentality that no matter what is left in the jungle, that is what the lion must have his lion's share as much as possible. If the number of customers in your industry shrink from maybe 100 to 5, carry the mentality that 3 out of that 5 is your customer. And I believe as you believe, so it will become. Because why? The force of attraction and the law of attraction will always come to play. Because what you respect in life, you will always attract it. It's a natural law and natural principle. So we must establish that mentality that no matter what is going on around me, my sales must remain and must go higher. So that belief system is what every other thing I'll be saying afterward is going to be building upon. Because you must convince yourself of that. You must wake up every morning with that mentality. And what is that mentality? They say in the jungle of West Africa, every lion wakes up hoping to outrun the slowest gazelle so that it does not starve to death. And they say every morning, every gazelle wakes up hoping to outrun the fastest of lions so that it does not get eaten alive and get deleted from existence that day. So every morning you must wake up with that mentality that you are going out to win and you're not going out to lose. That is number one. The next slide, please. The next slide says that you must be quick to respond to market forces. You must be very quick to respond to the market forces. Please, it will be a mistake if you are waiting to see what competition A or competition B or C is going to do first. If you are waiting, you might find yourself in a very discomforting situation on the long run. The truth remains this: whatever palliative coming from government is not going to come to the private businesses. It's going first to civil servants and maybe by extension to people, to their political stooges. Before anything can get to us, it will take time. It will come by an overbearing policy and that is effectively and judiciously executed. For example, the following week that it was officially announced that fuel price is now pegged at 488, I immediately called a meeting with my logistics department. I asked them to do a review of the transport cost of goods, of our products all over the country. And they should give me a report in 24 hours, which they did. And after doing that, what did we do? I immediately went back to my books and I adjusted my prices to reflect the new transport outward carried cost immediately. I did that within 48 hours of announcement of the new fuel price. So we must learn to respond quickly. And also, I gave my team a mandate to give me weekly updates, market intelligence on prices of competition. And I keep getting it every week, and I keep looking closely at my top competition in the market and how they are responding. But what am I trying to say is that first, you must survive. You must live to let live, because if you don't live, definitely there's nothing else you can do about it. So it's important that you respond promptly. So I want to admonish you, perhaps you are still waiting for competition to change price and all that. It might not all go well at the end of the day, because you'll be carrying a load that is more than you can bear, except and only perhaps your profit margin currently is so high that you can at least accommodate, the current prices of goods outward carried and the likes. So please, very important that we do what? We respond urgently. The next thing you must do, naturally, in a time of difficulties like this, it is natural for business, for the mentality and the physiology of your system to slow down. It's natural. But how slow it gets is going to be determined by you. One of the mistakes a lot of people will make at a time like this is to slow down prospecting, to slow down on marketing activities. That will be a fundamental error. You don't do that at a time like this. You don't. You have to do what? Increase the tempo of your prospecting. If your sales team are doing 3-4 visits per day or calls per day, tell them to double it, to increase it to 8 to 10 calls per day. This is a time for them to go the extra mile. And because the economy of everybody is shrinking, definitely, the ability to patronize more people definitely will come to question. And that is why this is a time for you to keep showing up. If you were visiting the customer before, maybe once in 2 months, you have to now make it bi-weekly. Make sure you are in their face twice in a month. Every other way you can be in their face, through WhatsApp, through Facebook, through Twitter, try as much as possible to be in their face at all times. You must keep prospecting. Very, very important. However, there is where the organization make the biggest mistake. They stop generating leads. Please don't. Please don't. This is time for you to do what? Improve your lead generation. And make sure you stay with your prospects and your customers as much as possible. Next slide, please. The next thing you will have to do is to improve our value proposition. Now, what is our value proposition? It is the benefits that your product offers your prospect or your buyers. You have to now try to emphasize what values your product or services is giving to your consumers or to your prospective clients. For instance, for me, my company, what we emphasize more at our level is the quality of our products. I try to do what? I try to emphasize the quality of our product. And why? Because in the industry, we find ourselves there's a lot of mushrooming going on and substandard quality products. But for us, what we hinge on is we now make known how our value proposition vis-a-vis quality applies to the efficacy of our products. And that we now emphasize. And then we do what we try to also improve our proficiency, our response time to our customers. We make sure that our product delivery is faster. We make sure that our responses are more courteous. And we make sure that we do what? We deliver as expected. One thing we do in my business is that we actually go to render what we call technical services to customers. And how do we do this? Well, in my industry, we relate with farmers. All right. And what we do, we go there with our technical skills. As veterinary professionals, we advise them on best practices. And at this time, that is what we do the most. We make sure that our team are equipped efficiently and they go all out and they make sure that based on prevalent challenges in the industry, they go and render valuable services and advice to our customers. And that way we keep ourselves in their face and we keep our value intact before them as much as possible. So at a time like this, I don't know what industry you are in, you need to emphasize the value proposition of your product and services to your clients. Very, very important. Next slide, please. The next thing you have to do is you have to learn to modify your sales pitch. See, no matter how slow the economy is, customer will continue to buy. I can overemphasize that. But you see, at a time like this, you need to know what is best for you. You need to know which of your product is actually your cash cow or your bull at a time like this. And these are the products you focus on. What am I trying to say? Your best seller. For example, now I want to believe that Pepsi at a time like this will definitely give more impetus to their Pepsi brand than the 7-Up. Because I want to believe that more people consume Pepsi at a time like this. So their value proposition is that they will do what? They will improve their investment in that portfolio at a time like this and give it everything because one, it is their cash cow, their star product, and it's what brings the most revenue. And that is why you need to modify that picture. You need to pay less attention to your laggards at this time. And when I say laggard, the products that are not doing so fantastic in your market. You need to focus now on the products that are doing well. Put more of your money or your investment in that line and then give it all the push you need to do. This is not a time where you want to be wasting so much time on introducing new products. You might be wasting time, energy, and resources because every product we do is life cycle in the market. Do you have that time? Do you have that latitude? You are using scarce resources to chase a narrow hand. So you need to learn to use that scarce resources to the most by putting more of it on your star product or your cash cow at this time. So what am I trying to say is this: increase your investment on your cash cow, give it all the impetus, pay less attention to your laggards, and for now you can rest developing new products, especially if you know that it cannot hit the market running. If you know it has to go through its life cycle of, initial penetration, and then before it starts scaling up in the market. This is not the kind of time for that. So modify your sales speed, focus on your bull. The next slide, please. Next slide. Now, another thing that we should not do at this time, we should not make the mistake of compromising the quality of our product and services. Please and please, I beg you profusely, do not make that mistake. From generation to generation, quality will always be the best business plan. Quality will always be the best business plan. You might reduce the size of the product. It's fine. I can remember back then in the 2000s, that was when we started seeing sachet products. When there was some economic distress, companies had to do what they had to modify their pitch, and they have to reevaluate their proposition. That was when we started seeing sachet products. And if you remember very vividly, Peak was the peak of the pack at some point. I'm not advertising for them, but I just need to use them as an example. You know, but at some point they refused to adjust to the trend of the times. But Cowbell Milk was quick to introduce the sachet products. And before you know it, Cowbell became our milk. And it became our milk from top to bottom. And before you know it, Peak began to struggle. Why? Because they failed to respond rapidly to the market dynamics. But one thing you do, while you are doing or while you are trying to do what? To adjust the size of your product, do not make a mistake of trying to reduce the quality of your product. Please don't. Because if you do, you might get away with it temporarily. But I can assure you on the long term, you will pay dearly for it. You will pay dearly for it. So please keep the quality of your products. What we can do is to partly reduce the package size to appeal to the buying power of the average consumer. That is what we can do. I also remember some years back, you know, where there were Ace brands, you know, Panasonic, Sharp, and the likes. And then suddenly some products started coming in from Taiwan into the country. And before you know it, woo, they were everywhere. Awash. People were buying them. But today, we are the Taiwan products. We are the brands. We don't see them anymore. But those quality brands from Japan and from Germany and the likes are still with us today. We use these gadgets all over us. Our cars, our homes, our TVs, our refrigerators, our air conditioners, those brands are still with us today. That is to give credit to the fact that quality will always remain the best business plan. So please do not reduce the quality of your brand or your product at this time. The next thing is that you have to learn to cut costs carefully. Please, it is very natural at a time like this to want to cut everything cuttable. You will use scissors, you will use knife. In fact, you will use that chainsaw to cut everything. But this is not the time. You cut costs anyhow. Because there are certain costs you might cut that might end up becoming trouble for you. Some of the costs you don't cut is your marketing cost. It will be tantamount to suicide if you decide to just cut your marketing cost anyhow. Because why? You must remain as much as possible in the face of your consumer, your prospect. So if I must say, one of the costs you must not touch, that you must even increase, is your marketing cost at a time like this. You can look at your outward carriage overhead and see how you can adjust that. You might look at maybe your sales overhead and look at how you can adjust that. You might look at how to adjust your staff salaries, maybe by creating maybe an hybrid working system, make them come some days, stay home some days, you know, run shifts, you know, to suit your manufacturing or your production expectations. But one thing you don't do, you don't cut your marketing cost anyhow. You must keep that or possibly increase it to make sure that you are in the lead. You will get to the face of your customers or your prospect first, and you are always in their mind at every point in time through all the various means of marketing as it applies to your industry. So please, ladies and gentlemen, you don't cut costs anyhow at this time. Next slide, please. The next thing we have to do at this time, because whether we like it or not, the times has come with, you know, so much depression, you know, headache, moodiness, and, you know, there's a lot of ill winds blowing all around the place. A lot of people are coming to work, even going to work forcefully because they are not happy, and because they are not happy, productivity, is questioned and they are not able to deliver effectively. These days, some people, instead of the task they will normally carry out in 30 minutes, they might end up spending 2 hours and still not be able to do it. Why? Because they are depressed, they are not happy, and all of that. At a time like this, as a business manager, as a business promoter, you must learn to keep the spirit up. You must learn to keep the spirit up. You must wake up every day and motivate yourself. And if you must know this, every organization is the lengthened shadow of the leader. Every system is the lengthened shadow of the leader. If you are exuding negative energy or poor energy as a leader, it will radiate to your team and it will tell on your productivity at the end of the day. That is why at this time, you cannot afford to be low in spirit, to be moody, to be downcast, to be depressed. No. You must wake up every day motivated, inspired, and you must do that to your team. For me, every day when I woke up, the moment I open my eyes, after saying my prayers, the next thing I'm looking for is the next thing that will motivate me. I don't give any room to any negative energy in any way. And once I get that positive boost in the morning, it takes me the whole day, gives me charge all day. You come into my environment, I'm exchanging the same energy level with you, and it's radiating everywhere. I'm coming in, I'm greeting everybody with enthusiasm. If you are downcast, what is happening to you, something we can talk about, we encourage ourselves, we ginger, we move on, and the energy just keep busting. And one thing, energy is contagious, can either be created or destroyed. So you have to do what? It only changes form. So you have to learn to do what? To build your own energy and transfer same to your team. Zig Ziglar said something. He said, people often say motivation don't last. Well, he said that is how baiting two is. That is why we bait ourselves every day. But yet yesterday's motivation cannot sustain you today. It won't work, or it might not work. You need a daily dose of motivation for you to keep yourself running and the system running at all times. Ladies and gentlemen, there's anything you need most, especially at this time, is morale. Your motivation, your morale must be very high at all times. You cannot afford any downtime at this time. And once you are up and running, it will be the same thing to the rest of your team members, and you begin to see the figures in your productivity at the end of the day. Next slide, please. Let's move to the next slide. I'm rounding up gradually. Another thing you need to do, seventh law of highly effective people, according to
Stephen Covey.
Yeah, Stephen Covey. He said that we have to learn to sharpen our sword. And in that text where he said that two guys went to go and cut down a tree, and one of them just went straight to start cutting, started hammering at the tree, but the other guy went away and went to go and sharpen his sword, his axe. He spent time sharpening the axe, and the moment he came down to the tree, in no time the tree was down. And when the tree was down with little or no effort, the other guy was still there struggling with a blunt axe, What does this mean? You need to learn to recreate yourself. You need to invest in yourself. You need to imbibe new skills. Just the way we are sharing information and sharing ideas now, we need to do what we need to keep exposing ourselves to information that will make us better. Someone said that every destiny is at the mercy of skill, and only the skillful become successful. Informed repetition, as they say, is the mother of skill. All right? So information is what helps you improve your skills. And when your skills becomes better, you're better at your craft and at your trade, and it will report and it will result in your figures and your numbers growing. When you are sharper, your system is sharper, your output is better. And that is what this means. So you must learn to invest in yourself, and also don't forget to also learn to rest. Rest is also an important part of investing in yourself and recreating. All right? It's very, very important. Learn to take time out to go and rest. Go to the spa, get a massage sometimes, go away from work, get a good sleep. Some of us don't know how to rest. Unfortunately, all we do is just walk, and walk. At the end of the day, and when you are tired, it tells on your productivity. So it's very important that you do what? While you are making yourself better, learn to rest, learn to recreate, learn to take care of your body as much as possible as you work smart. In conclusion, having said all I said, whether we like it or not, tough times are here to stay. Tough times have been since the time of Isaac, Jacob. They've been there. Famines have come when population of the world was not even up to maybe 500,000. They've been encountering economic difficulties. So the point that people were eating themselves and eating their children to survive. So whether we like it or not, these tough times are here to stay. But only those with wits and willpower will survive this period. And that is why I'm ending on this note again. We need to do what? We need our will and our wit, most especially at this time. I believe with that we'll be able to stand strong, stand firm, and survive through this period. And I will close with these words. Someone said, hard times create strong men. Perhaps these times are hard so that you and I can become strong men. And strong men in turn create good times. So please, the times are not going to get easier. But we only do what? We only have to get stronger. And I believe very strongly that at the end of the day, putting the few things that have been enumerated in this brief presentation to work, I believe very strongly that our businesses will not only survive this time, it will thrive and become a business to reckon with in the days ahead. On this note, I want to thank you very much for this time. And again, I want to appreciate this opportunity from the leadership. And I want to wish us all the very best in these very wonderful times that we have found ourselves. Thank you very much. God bless you. I remain Alao Mobolaji. Thank you and God bless you.
So, I mean, good comments. So, Mr. Godwin says, excellent presentation, thank you. He says, an example of pricing adjustment in response to the fuel subsidy removal sounds fine. However, did you consider a possible pushback from the customers? That's question one that I would like you to look at. Then Somi Falobi says, thanks for the presentation, sir. Please, it's a little confusing when you said this is not the best time to create a new product. Why is that so? Especially as the time requires new and creative solutions to overcome the emerging difficult realities. Yeah, so I think that's when you were talking about your cash cow, and laggard products. Well, that's not exactly what he said, but I would like him to speak. I would like Dr. Alao to speak to it. Yes. And then Joseph Isebo says, nice presentation, Dr. Alao. Pardon, I joined late. Might have missed a place of prayer and good works and proclaiming good news in our business. Well done. So that's a contribution. That's a comment probably that he wants you to add, is trying to ask, where's the place of the spiritual? Where's the place of God in all of these things? Where's the place of faith? I think that's the question. And then Mr. Falabi says, what other areas of customer service should one drastically improve upon at a critical time like this? I think those are the questions we have right now. And don't forget the first one that says you have talked about product service. That's from my president, so you can't miss it. How about service products? You have talked about product service. How about service products? How do you innovate your sales skills at this time? Dr. Alao, over to you, sir. Did you get the questions?
Yes, thank you very much. Let me first of all appreciate the kind words. I appreciate them. It means a lot. I will just take the questions one by one. I probably didn't get all the questions to go, but the ones I didn't get, probably we'll just get back to it once I'm done with the ones I got. Please, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, loud and clear. Loud and clear, I can hear you.
Thank you very much. Well, the first question about the customer pushback on price increase. Everybody is affected by the sharp increase in the price of fuel. And they know that automatically fuel affects every strata of our everyday living, every single one of it. And as a result, everybody knows that things would naturally go up accordingly or correspondingly. So it's only wise for one to strike when the metal is hot. That is my honest opinion and advice. Strike when it is hot. And then I learned something from the commodity companies. You see, each time I actually do groceries in my house for my family. I do it deliberately so that I can keep tabs on certain things. I realized that if I go to the grocery store, let me just take it from retrospect. I went in, this is June now. In March this year, a 900-gram pack of Dano was selling for 3,100. Before the end of March, it moved to 3,200. At the end of April, it was 3,500. As at May ending, it has reached 3,700. As we speak right now, it is 3,800. That's what they call post-dosing price increase. You see, this time for people that are not assuming or people that don't pay attention to the details like me, they will not feel the increase. They made it gradual and systematic. You will not even know. All right? Until it just dawn on you that, but 3 months ago, I bought this at a social price. But now it's like that. And I realized that that is what all the consumer products are doing. They keep post-dosing the increase. And then at the time when they realize that there's an outcry or maybe there's a sharp change in the policy of government vis-a-vis petrol and whatever, they will just increase it sharply too. And that's what they do to keep their business running, because there's no way you can do it. Maybe you are sending product from Lagos to Abuja, a particular product, maybe you were sending it before for maybe 10,000. Right now it has gone to about 16,000, 17,000 naira to send the same product. Are you going to imbibe all the cost? You can't. Everybody knows for real now that prices must go up. And I tell you, everybody is ready for it. They will softly kick, but when you let them know that, come, look, there's nothing we can do about it. It's the current reality. They will adjust. So I think it's only wise for one to strike when the iron is hottest so that it can be easily imbibed. And I tell you, since I increased my own prices, I've not had any foul cry. Rather, they are even eager to buy, because I'm going to be post-dosing it. I will do one sharp now, and after a while, I will be doing it small. They will not even know. But while I'm keeping a close eyes on my competing product, on the competing brands, you understand? And then most importantly, I'm maintaining the quality of my products. And that way, I've been able to keep my system running. The price increase has afforded me the ability to increase my staff salary. That we know that it's a must, because if you don't, productivity will suffer, and the other things might suffer too at the end of the day, and everybody might go down. If a system collapses, staff could go and find another job. But can you, as an employer, as a business owner, go and get a new job or go and apply to be employed? It's going to be difficult. So you have to quickly act, increase the price so that you can accommodate salary increases and then outward carriage increases, and still keep your overhead and other things running. The second question is the new product creation. Now, if you listen to me carefully, I was referring to companies that already have certain flagship products, star products that we call the bulls. They're already in the market. I think they are the ones you need to try and improve, if not sustain, improve their market penetration so that you can increase your sales. Because the problem now is that because the economy is cringing, resources are scarce. If you say you want to introduce a new product now, all right, you will have to deploy money to develop the products, packaging, raw materials, and then you now have to introduce it into the market. And then the market need to respond to it. And for the law of products must go through its own time in the market for it to be accepted and for it to be imbibed and for it to now begin to give you profit. So this might not be a very good time to bring in new products if you have some that are already doing well in the market. You just need to actually, improve their penetration and, grow your sales. When the economy is stable and everything is stable, Forex is stable, power money is stable, fuel money is relatively stable, then, and then your overhead and your profitability is okay, then you can then think of bringing in new products to the marketplace. It's only my advice, except perhaps you've discovered an opportunity in the current situation, and you find out there's a product that can fit into that challenge and can help people deal with it better. If you have that kind of product, please release it into the market. Because such products at such time like this, that there is, pressure. People are looking for anything that will help them relieve pressure. If you have any product now that you call anti-stress, headache will disappear, depression will disappear, all your problem will disappear, I can assure you that product will sell like wildfire. If that concerning, I think the next question is has to do with customer service. So, Mr. D, can you help me again with that question, please?
Okay, 1 minute. The question on customer service. Okay, so what other areas of customer service should one drastically improve upon at a critical time like this?
Okay, thank you.
Then you have missed the question about the place of prayer and good works and proclaiming good news.
All right, sir.
And then I have one more question. There's a new question here for you. Yeah, that says about 2 or 3. So maybe I should just read them so that you take them together, right?
Okay.
Great and smart presentation. In a time like this, how do you trade off high quality or premium products, purchasing power of Nigerians and high inflation rates to still remain profitable in the midst of stiff competition and substitute products? Okay. Then somebody says, please, thanks for the submission. This is Mr. Michael. He says, please relate this to the building industry where there's no provision for variant. Okay. Yes. Did you get the question, sir?
Okay, I got some, maybe the last one, if I have to ask the question again, but let's just, for the sake of time, let me just move ahead with some of the ones I already got.
Okay.
Well, in terms of prayer and good works, I mean, we can't overemphasize the place of prayer. I didn't want to do the work of my pastors in the house. That's why I carefully, left that aspect for them, because we cannot overemphasize it. It's God above every other thing. It's God first. We can't overemphasize the fact that God is all we need to have all our needs met, and we know that prayer changes everything, and that is why we cannot but pray. The supernatural still and will forever controls the natural. So the place of prayer, the place of seeking God's face in the midst of all this crisis cannot, and I repeat, cannot be toyed with. You must hold it as a number one tool, as an anchor. You must always seek God's face. We must always learn to pray and, to seek strength from heaven at all times as believers. And I believe as we do so, God will continue to strengthen us and fortify our stronghold even through these tough times. And we'll emerge more than conquerors in Jesus' name. For the gentleman that asked about whether it's going to be easy to sustain quality, considering the buying power of Nigerians, I want to beg again. Like I said during my presentation, you can walk away with murder temporarily, but you will not walk away with it forever. Just like Bob Marley said, he said you can fool some people sometimes, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. That is principle. And like I said, quality will always remain the best business plan. All right? Quality will always stand the test of time. And if you go and look at brands that have lived 50, 70, 80, 100 years and above and beyond, look at PZ that have lived over 100 years, their core value is hinged on quality. Look at other brands, German brands, American brands, Japanese brands that have, lived for several decades. They've all been built around quality. We must learn to imbibe what we call total quality management in our businesses as much as possible. What is acceptable? You can bring you can reduce the pack size to fit the economy, but you reducing the quality, you might just be shooting yourself in the leg. And I would advise you, please tread cautiously in that wise. For the issue of customer care service, what I would advise, this is the time that, your customer care service has to move up to the next level. In fact, it has to move up to the very highest level as much as possible. This is a time where you really check up on your customers more than often. You need to show more empathy. You need to cuddle them more. That's the language we use in my industry. You need to cuddle them more. You need to, look out for them, more often. Like a period like this now that people are going to do the Ilea Festival. I mean, it's not out of place if you decide to probably, support your customers, with the ones that are high-value customers. Perhaps the ram or something to help them, celebrate their festivities and all of that. Everything you can do right now to just, be in their mind, because people don't care how much you know. People only want to know how much you care. And that's principle. They don't care how much you know. If you don't touch their heart, you will not get their hand. So everything your customer service should be thinking right now is how to touch their hearts. The more you touch their hearts, the more of their hands you get. Every human being is an emotional account. The more you invest in the account, the more you draw from them. And that is what customer service is about. So once you're able to build your customer service at this time around those fundamental principles, touching more of their heart, I am very certain you will keep them within your range and you keep your hands in their pocket for as long as possible. I don't know if I attended to all the questions.
Yes, so I'll just take 2 more questions. Our time is fast spent. We just actually have 2 more minutes for this session. So I don't know how you'll be able to do that. But the question around, you have talked about products, service. How about service products? How do you innovate your sales skills at this time? How do you innovate your sales skills at this time? So then you didn't address the question around the building industry where there's no provision for variation. So that's a question for you, that how do you relate this presentation to the building industry? Okay, I hope we can do that in the time given. Then finally, if price increase discourage the customers from buying more, what is the best thing to do to increase sales in that situation? If the market is responding to the prices and, demand starts to drop or they are taking up substitute products, what do you do? Please, I would like you to help, touch those things very quickly. Then we're coming to the end. Our time is, in fact, this is 1954, 1 minute. Sir, final word, sir.
There's no other way. You have to seek knowledge. You have to expose yourself for your skills, your learnings. And these days, this internet is full of information that you could actually go to. There are so many training videos on YouTube. Even if you don't have money to go to any organized institution to go and learn more, you could go on YouTube. There are so many videos there you could click on and you could learn and sharpen your skills. And this is a time where you have to always make sure your sales team are top notch. You must keep reinventing their skills. You must keep calling them back for training. And thank God for webinars. They don't need to gather so that they will have to spend so much money. Organize Zoom meetings, invite people that are that are experienced in the sales business, let them talk to them, motivate them, teach them new skills. These ways, I'm very certain that, the sharper, the sharper they become, the sharper their sales ability, and the sharper and the better your figures will be at the end of the day. And lastly, concerning the building material business, to be honest, I am not grounded in terms of that industry, and definitely all I've said is not cast in stone to your business, but I'm very certain that there are probably one or two things that you could actually deploy from what I have said. I mean, maybe you might need someone that is extremely proficient in your business to be able to advise you on the best practice, especially at a time like this. Please, I'm sorry, I might not be able to attend to that angle. So then the last bit on value proposition. Sorry, Deji, I didn't get that part very well.
You have talked about product service. How about service product? How do you innovate your sales skills at this time? Well, I think you have addressed this actually. I've been talking about increasing your capacity, getting more content, going online to learn, or looking for resources around.
Yes.
I mean, for me, seeking mentorship, if I can add, because the reality is the times we're in, Bible says there's nothing new under the heaven. The times we're in, there have been more difficult times. We've read about the 1924 stock market crash. We've read about people that walked through that crash, people that were successful, people that failed as a result of how they responded. So the reality, there are times, but the times will pass, and it's really a question of how we all, respond, and react to those times, and develop ourselves, if I was going to add. And on that note, I would like to say a very big thank you to Dr. Alao for the very excellent presentation this evening. We appreciate you. The questionnaire says the question is not answered, so I would like to request that maybe we take this offline because of our time, and maybe we don't have sufficient understanding of that question, and we can take it offline. Dr. Alao is accessible. If you reach out, we can discuss it, okay? And on that note, I would like to say thank you very much, Dr. Alao. We thank you for tonight.